Welcome everyone to the channel. I am the Jake Man and you are with the Atlantic Front. I'm always going to have the information that you're always going to want. So like and subscribe. That way I can continue to bring such wonderful content. At the Atlantic Front, we do focus as much as we can upon the eastern seaboard and this entire area here. So we're going to go ahead and see as much as we can and give you as much information as possible. I know there's a lot of weather going out there in the in California with the Santa Ana winds. I was born in California, so I might talk a little bit about that as at a later date. But right now, we do have some snowfall out there that we want to talk about, and that is the winter storm Cora, and she has started in Dallas. And as you can see here, the temperatures that were going all the way through here. So if I can get Dallas and Charlotte in the same thing here. So it's interesting about these southern storms that when you see these areas, and we'll kind of deep dive this a lot more, but when Dallas gets snow, and I think they got anywhere from 6 to 8 in North Dallas versus South Dallas, and they were supposed to get a really big ice event. I'm not saying they didn't get an ice event, but they did get a lot more snow than possible. Shreveport also the same thing, but then it kind of moved its way up into the Atlanta area. So this I-20 corridor kind of moving along as far as this. So Atlanta sitting now at 31 degrees, which is really interesting since it's still below zero and it's still getting some of the storm. We'll talk about that in a second. So if you go from Dallas all the way into Atlanta, both of those get snow. That means that the western side of the nation ended up giving us a lot. Either it's coming out of the Gulf or it's coming out from the west. But most of the time when there's a Gulf pushing, we'll also look at that as well. As you can see, a little bit of a spoiler alert down here. As you can see how all of this moisture is dumping straight up into the southeast or the Atlantic front. So lots to talk about, and we're going to get right into it. Right now, where I am located is in the greater Charlotte area. We'll zoom in a little bit on this. So those of you that are interested in the Atlantic front, so this is, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia, kind of in this zone, which is really the, for today's, I guess, video. These are the points of contention, and whenever there's storm, it's huge news, or winter storm, there's huge news. So Charlotte sitting at 31, and right where I'm at, just over the border in between the Clover Rock Hill area. I know that seems a little specific, but that's the way it is. So that means that we are in a pretty good wedge of temperatures that are going to allow it. So you can actually see Spartanburg and Union and Chester and Lancaster all are sub zero, and that is even going down into the Columbia area. My kid goes down there to USC, and they're even below zero too, and it's 342 on Friday. So the temperature is very positive if you want a winter storm. But let's go ahead and see exactly what this whole thing is showing us now. So here's the precipitation, and the precipitation is looking like we are now going to be kind of moving into more of a moderate scenario here. As you can see the disparate colors here, you have, and you can even see it says snow light Friday at 3 p.m. and that's the kind of the last little bit there. So we're in the now portion of this. So we're going to add we went through this dry spell, and I'll show you what that actually meant for us here. So let's go ahead and kind of geek out a little bit. Let's go ahead and show you guys. So we now are starting to get some pretty good snowflakes out there. I'm looking out the window, and my camera is also picking up the snow now before it wasn't picking it up before. So we're going to watch as much as we can. Looks like there's a little bit of snow kind of going in there. So that's what's at the bottom of the screen here. As you can see, over there, that's my live view outside in the storm here. So let's take a look and kind of start getting into the details, of what we're looking at here. Okay. The main thing that we're trying to I guess battle when you're talking about a southern storm is, it's kind of like when the stars all have to align, the planets have to align. And in this case, you need to have a Gulf, movement, or a Gulf storm movement kind of move there. We're gonna actually let's dump out of that real quick. So let's get a little bit bigger here and kind of see what the whole thing's going on here. So it look how long this thing is actually kind of. It's like almost like it's almost like a huge line, I guess, is what it's really looking like here. So you end up having this line that kind of does this, and it's moving like that. So this is all then moving like this, all right? So everything's like that. But what, and it's not, I mean, from a directional perspective, I just want you looking at that. That's why kind of the wedges are. But what we end up getting with storms is that you need this push of moisture out of the Gulf, or in this case, even all the way in from the Pacific into the Gulf. More warmer waters, kind of the ability to push stuff upwards or push moisture upwards. But then you get a very interesting side of things is it's almost pushing this dry air mass that's trying to stay as much, which is very interesting because the dry air mass is settling over water. So if you watch any of my videos before, you're dealing with a bunch of water or the tropics. So it's usually pushing as much as it can, humidity and moisture this way. But in this case, this is now a drier air. So this is like the drier, all right, and that's the drier air. This is the wetter air, or the wet, or the moisture, and here is the this is the cold. All right, so you have dry air, the wet. That's really what ends up occurring in order for a southern storm to actually happen. The other ways that it happens, and we'll kind of go into that, probably later in the year, because you'll see that is when this really cold weather kind of pushes down, straight down into that. Then there's almost like a little bit of moisture can creep back up into the southeast or the Atlantic front, and so you can see that almost like this meeting, and then it just freezes on contact, which is not as much of a detriment. It just doesn't disintegrate the storm or anything. And I use the word disintegrate on purpose because the dry air will hit that wet air, and then all of a sudden it just kind of fizzles out. So that's what we've been kind of battling with to try to get this, because we've been in a Virga state. And if you don't know what Virga state is, you've come to the right place. So let's take a look and see what this looks like. Where I'm at. So you can legitimately visualize the drier air here. It's not even trying to hide itself. Okay, so it's right here. This is dry air. This is dry air. All right. Again, that wedge that we were talking about, that kind of look like this. That's the kind of that whole thing. Well, let's make that a nice. So this is that cold air, and this is that dry air. Kind of the dry air right in here like this. So the dry air is pushing. All right, and I'm using white on purpose because it's coming in and looking like this whole area was kind of like almost this highlighted area. These were that dry air pockets that was pushing. So you have all of this tremendous moisture that is working, and it is pushing, and it did really, really hit Atlanta. I think they got anywhere from 6, I think, to 8, depending on North Atlanta. And they were pretty much supposed to get an ice event. So that was really interesting to kind of see how that whole thing kind of came into fruition with that. So Atlanta did get hit. Again, that's that whole Dallas to Atlanta into Charlotte area. That's how the Southeast kind of always gets its snow there. So it is battling the dry air, and it just right at 3:45, you're seeing the system starting to move in. So as the system moves in, then you're kind of seeing the line, I guess, the line being this is that line of moisture that's coming in, and this is that kind of the ground zero spot for Charlotte. So that's what we're looking at, and it is quite interesting to see this dry air mass stay up. And they did say that it was going to end up taking down some of the levels of our snow forecast, which was pretty disheartening because it went from about a 5 to 6 from a forecast perspective, 5 to 6 to a 3 to 4, and now maybe it's a 1 to 2. But we're hoping that we're going to see a little bit of a comeback when these moderate snows start to kind of move into the area. So that's the primary thing here. So let's kind of take a look back at are we still snowing over there? Let's see here. Let's do this, and there we go. So we're still got a little bit of snow that's forming. It looks like it's kind of coming into the whole thing. I'd say that we're still in that zone here. So let's take a look at the future cast and from a standpoint of what the radar looks like as well too. So as you can see, we were talking about the temperatures before, and again, the temperatures are perfect for this whole area. But now that the radar is showing it, so again, what the powers that be, the forecast folks they are really. Let's go ahead and use blue. All right, so they have kind of painted these lines like this. All right, that it's like that. Okay. So the storm itself is a little high. So the storm itself is sitting about right here. That's where the storm is. So it's pulling from the Gulf, obviously, but what it's doing is this moisture is still trying to push as much as it can. So when you see the I guess we'll kind of keep it at that. That's not bad. When you see the amount of rain and or snow and or sleet and or icing, so from a standpoint of what this is and just kind of telling you exactly which one is, all the blue is some kind of snow. All right, so the darker blues are going to be the more moderate snow, and the lighter blues are going to be the less amount of snow. This pink is actually still rain snow mix. All right, we're not seeing any icing at this point, even though it's just there's just not enough that's pushing the ice down. So when you're talking about what you have the southeast, this is the greater Charlotte area, North Carolina, South Carolina. So right below there you have Columbia and Charlotte. This is Knoxville, but you got Boone up here. And Atlanta was also. So Atlanta is still getting moderate snow even right now. So the idea is that if we can get this dry air mass away from us, we can kind of push it off to the side, then you're going to start to see our moderate totals as well. So we're supposed to snow until about 8 or 9 o'clock, and then maybe even more of a freezing rain from 8 until 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm looking outside, and it looks like it's picking up again. What does it look like out there? Let's take a look and see what our. So it's starting to collect on there. It's starting to get a little bit more snowy out there. My camera's picking up a pretty good clip of snow. So let's take a look. Let's see what what that does, what that looks like here. So we got that on the screen there. So we're really closed in here now. So snow light, snow moderate, this is what's coming in. All right. So if this comes in the way they think it's going to come in, then you have these moderates right in this zone right here. These guys, I'd say that guy right there. Oh, I need to move you over. Let's go ahead and move you over. So let's move you over. There we go. So let's take a look. We'll put this out here like that. Keep Charlotte and Columbia and Atlanta in the screen here. So you have, these are the moderate zones. Okay, so looks like Spartanburg is getting some more. Greenwood, all this. This is, like I said, this is all moderate snow. This is pretty heavy stuff here. And Atlanta's still getting this. So if you're talking about from an hour perspective, I would say probably for the next 6 hours, I would say at least. So that would take us into the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock area as far as pushing all of this snow towards the greater Charlotte area, and Columbia. Now, Columbia, which they said was going to get almost nothing, they've been getting some stuff here. So they're getting there's some flakes and all that. So can this stuff continue to move forward before this mix line kind of comes in here? So, you know, well, let's do that. And so the mix line is here. So when you have the mix line, then we get into this. We'll kind of change colors here. So the mix line is now, it still hasn't even hit Atlanta yet. Again, that's Atlanta right there. So it hasn't hit Atlanta, and you're in a zone here that is still supposed to be a lighter snow, because they said that it was going to be more of a snow and then a freezing rain event, with probably the last forecast being that it was going to be a lot more freezing rain. So it is very exciting. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this video out there as fast as possible. And I just wanted to kind of show you guys that there is some stuff going on in the Southeast. And looks like that rain is looking pretty solidly. I'm sorry, the snow is looking pretty solid there. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And, we are going to, like I said, I'm going to probably make a couple more videos and just going to see exactly how much we can, show you as far as what the Southeast looks like. And I'll try to get some more videos. But this should be a lot of fun. I'm hoping that we can do this and while the sun's out too, so we can continue to see what the snow looks like. So have fun, everybody, and enjoy. If you're in the Southeast, enjoy it, and like and subscribe so I can continue to give you some more content. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in about an hour or so.